This week, when they updated the ranked pool, they had 1v1 Michi in the pool. And man, some people loved it. Other people hated it. Look at Red here. This is LaaaaaN, by the way, player who's probably at his peak back in 2020, a player from Spain. He's recently returned to the game. And he says, what is this? WTF? JonSlow on the other side, famous arena player, says, welcome to Michi. I'll be your guide. So yeah, you start with quite a few villagers here. And because this is Michi, I am going to speed it up. But I find this so funny, man. Red is Turks. Turks cannot Onager cut through trees. So JonSlow says you could use trebs. And LaaaaaN is just basically not very happy about this. And that's like kind of the interesting aspect of it. Some people are thrilled to be able to try this out in a ranked scenario. Other people have not been so thrilled about it. Listen, my take, I like variety in ranked. It's not like the definitive edition is new at this point, right? It's been out for 5 years. There's going to be people who don't like it, but there's bans, right? Now, I know the community, and there's going to be people who say, well, there's not enough bans, because they maybe only like to play one map. But, you know, I personally like a little bit of variety, and hope you guys watching are ready for this as well. So, again, we're going to speed through some of this, which is not the norm, just because, like, I don't have enough stories to maybe kill the time as they boom. But I'm excited. We got JonSlow playing as the Ethiopians. I mean, the Ethiopian tech tree is ridiculous. What they're able to accomplish with the siege mainly is really strong, and we rarely get to see that with the Ethiopians. So siege Onager, siege ram, bombard cannons, and then the unique tech Torsen engines is incredibly strong. Is expensive, but we'll actually have the odds to see it. And then the Turks as well, like their late game's fantastic with the gunpowder, and then the bombard cannons. With the artillery upgrade and maybe the Sipahi upgrade for cav archers. But again, you know, we're actually almost guaranteed to see that. And we'll see how it goes. Like, how is the Turk player going to deal with not being able to cut through the trees? It's so funny. If you haven't picked up on it already, sorry for anyone who's new. There's trees through the middle, so you're kind of stuck. And you got to make your way to the enemy. LaaaaaN just kind of keeps complaining. He's like, I returned to the game for this. And he says, I'm sad I don't have time for more. And JonSlow says, there's lots of hamsters online with a frowny face. He calls Arabia players hamsters. I guess by that description, LaaaaaN would probably be one. But yeah, JonSlow's been enjoying the Michi. I think today he actually had Michi favorited. So, you know, he's typically an arena player. So, I don't know. I like it. Do I want Michi all the time? No. But, like, the ranked queue changes every 2 weeks, and variety is the spice of life, if you ask me. So, fast castle times are pretty good. A side note, which is, I think, really funny here, is that LaaaaaN doesn't actually know that there is a market in the corner here. So, this version of Michi, you start with a neutral market. So, you can trade on this, but he doesn't know that. Right? He might not have even known this isn't ranked. He's just come in here saying WTF. And so he's just going to drop the TCs, and this is going to be like your standard boom. JonSlow is already making trade carts. Now, I personally don't think it's worth to make trade carts at this point. I think it's 150 resource for a trade cart. And ideally, you want the speed upgrades. I would say using your wood for other things for now is probably technically the best, but it's also just really fun, and he's gonna have the freaking time, right? I think that's the biggest thing. It's like if both these players had just the perfect booms with their ecos, and then they were both gonna cut towards each other, then, you know, maybe this whole thing, the lack of efficiency, is an issue. I don't really consider it to be much of an issue. So 3 town centers right now for good old JonSlow, one of my favorite players. He's so fun to watch. And I feel like he's very relatable for most people too. I mean, I also am a big fan of anyone who makes fun of themselves. A lot of people take themselves too seriously. You know, the competitive players especially in anything, right? You know, no one wants to have jokes made about them, and sometimes people can get a little annoyed by that, and rightly so. But, you know, me, half my channel is people making fun of things I've done. I don't know. That's how I live my life. JonSlow is kind of the same. So, res collected's bottom left. It's super close right now. JonSlow is still adding the little trade. And he's now adding markets in the corner as well. So, the trade will be more efficient. And he's getting, it should be more than 63 gold per trip. I think he only has 63 because of where the trade cart started. Am I wrong here? No, that doesn't actually make sense. I think it might be 63 each time now. I could have sworn it was more. I'll keep you updated. We have time. And I am going to slow it down eventually here, but I'm just doing this because they are just going for these crazy economies here. But guys, like Land Scout, it isn't going to find the market if he doesn't move around. They're asking each other what their population is, and they're both honest on their pop. And we're just chilling here. Just hanging out. But, you know, again, it's kind of an interesting scenario for the Turk player. Bombard cannons can't take down trees. One of 2 civs in the game that doesn't get Onager. So he is going to have to, like, kind of just wait it out and see if JonSlow comes to him. In theory, JonSlow could just not. Imagine going up to 200 eco and just not cutting at all. Now, I guess what Land could do is use trebuchets. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, the neutral market certainly makes things a little bit more interesting. Land clicks up to Imp. JonSlow going to be up to Imp here as well. And I think it's time to slow it down. Let's enjoy this game at normal speed from here. And think about their comps. I will say that, like, Ethiopians could have a big problem in terms of their regular military. Their siege suddenly becomes an option. But I'm not sure how well, like, foot archers are in choke points. Usually, foot archers struggle in choke points, especially against bombard cannons. And I would expect that there's probably going to be bombard cannons from Land. Land is doing the right thing here, stacking up outposts. And I also think the way he's built his houses is actually really smart. What you don't want is you don't want to be attacked on the front of your base and lose your pop space. So, like, this here, it does look very nice, I have to say. But I actually think this is something you would want to avoid. Actually, having said that, then your trade might be affected. Well, I'm not sure. I guess, like, this is actually, it doesn't affect the trade that much if you take out the trees. Yeah, I think JonSlow's houses are actually better. At the end of the day, it's just houses, and you're probably going to have castles. So I take back what I said. It's like, this is what I mean, guys. Like, this is what I have to talk to you about, because we... there's not a lot else to talk about yet. You think this is bad? I'm talking about house position. Imagine what it would have been like if we went for the normal speed. I know you guys probably prefer the normal speed, but in all honesty, I recorded a lot of this before a trip to Spain. I'm going to be casting in Spain at a Red Bull event, which is October, I think, 3rd through 6th. So if you guys watch there, make sure to say hello. Hopefully I'll see you in the chat or whatever. But yeah, so it also helps me so I don't have a 12-hour day of casting, and I cut that down to 8 or something. So JonSlow has known about the market, and Land just found that market just by chance. And he says, there is a market, WTF. And then it starts to dawn on him what that means. And he says, this can be a 4-hour game. JonSlow says, the dream. Which is so freaking funny, man. And then JonSlow says, when do you have to go again? Because remember, Land said he only has time for this game. And JonSlow, you don't want to give him that information because he might stall this out and get the victory that way. Land says, I don't know. I think he's lying. I think you know. But, you know, he had 160 villagers. And just to give you an idea of, like, how helpful a normal economic boom is, he has collected 4,000 more resources here, Land. So, I think JonSlow, just, you know, it's a bit more difficult to mix in the trade early on your economy. But JonSlow's also, like, he wants a timing attack here. He knows Turks can't come to him. So he's really going for military. He's going for Shotel warriors. He's going for Onager. We have Torsen engines now, and he's going to start cutting through. Land as well, selling food while the prices are high. And let's see if these outposts spot this. Now, he did get town patrol. He's got lots of vision here. But LaaaaaN is not exactly prepared. He's just building castles with one vill. Will he hear that JonSlow is coming through the wood line on his way to kill him right now? You have two choices if you're JonSlow. You either never cut and you take your time, or you hit your opponent because they can't hit you, and that's what he's trying to do. Now, he also has outposts. But he really should advance forward and build some outposts here, in my opinion. Because, like, what if there's a big army here and you just didn't know about it? They're doing a lot of other things here. He's going to start to mass up trebs. These are elite shotels, by the way. It's a low HP but a high attack unit, and he's through. Now, behind this, we have bombard towers. When do you see bombard towers in this channel? Maybe community games, but normally it's too costly for 1v1s. Look at land. Is this guy rusty? Well, I played him the other day. He said, I'm noob now. Actually, to be exact, I said, are you noob now? He said yes. He then beat me, and I said, don't worry, I am too. But that was really nice damage control here through the choke point. And these Shotel warriors are going to try and come through. And these Shotel warriors can't make it through the fortifications. And JonSlow loses all his units. Now, he's going to still try and cut around. But there is now a path for LaaaaaN to use. The LaaaaaN, you can't, like, replant trees in this game. So LaaaaaN will be pretty happy about that. Now, he didn't snag artillery yet, so his bombard cannons only have 12 range. That 12 range is still really nice against Onagers. And we're missing other technologies for both players as well. We're going to see nice micro there from LaaaaaN. He seems to know what JonSlow's doing, and he's even going to drop some walls and towers behind here. Because he kind of has to protect the trade, right? He's just now adding that. It is 180 economy for LaaaaaN right now, so he's getting by with a lot more eco. And JonSlow continues to try and go for these crazy Shotel warriors. Siege Onagers on the way. I mean, if these Siege Onagers can connect with something, it's going to go splat. What's nice is JonSlow doesn't have to worry about getting hit elsewhere at the same time. Like, there's just no chance, really, that's going to happen. Now artillery is in. So, you know, artillery also affects the bombard towers. So 13 range bombard towers here. And you can tell JonSlow, like, maybe he was worried about this. You could tell he's struggling a little bit with the idea of getting close to the towers and the gunpowder here. I love LaaaAN's control, but I also just think his units are really smart against infantry. But he will probably lose this bombard tower, or not. JonSlow's going to pack up his treb. He's concerned. And JonSlow's Onagers are wide targets. And so he's got to be careful with how he positions these. And so he's going to roll away. And this is 1v1 Michi, people. Let's go. Pro Michi. I am a very pro Michi. I'm a very pros on Michi kind of guy. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Again, like, I get, like, a lot of people might not want to play this. But just ban it. Just ban it, you know? I think... Then it's like, well, I can't ban everything else I don't like T90. And then I guess that's just a whole nother conversation. I personally have not played 1v1 Michi this week. I have it on my ban list, so. But I did have Arena open. So, and that's not something I have all the time. So, there is an upgrade that is missing right now for JonSlow. And I actually thought it was kind of a useless upgrade 2 months ago. I actually said in a cast, it was between Yo and ACCM in one of the Red Bull qualifying matches, that I didn't think it was actually that important of an upgrade. But I saw a couple examples. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to get those games to cast it for you. But it is my hope to have an Ethiopian-focused video in the future. But it is this upgrade, Royal Heirs. Now, that used to do something different. But now that means that your Shotel warriors and your camels receive 3 less damage from cavalry units. So that would be helpful with, like, any, like, hussars or cavalier or camels against your Shotel warriors, basically. Or your camels. And I think, I mean, especially here, it's worth it. I mean, you look at, like, LaaaaaN right now. I mean, this is Michi, right? You really should just get every tech. It's not like you're going to research something and say, oh, no, I didn't benefit, and I've run out of resources. Like, They've got crazy resources. And look at that attack ground here from LaaaaaN, who has a path now. And so JonSlow, he needs an answer here to be able to get in close, because there wasn't that much gunpowder before. Now there is. Now there's elite Janissaries as well. And what he's going to do here is so good. And LaaaaaN is, recently returned to the game after a bit of a break. I don't think LaaaaaN is really up to date on the fact that this is maybe an option. If you haven't seen it on Capture Age, it's in queue right now. We got siege towers on the way. Now, LaaaaaN has not seen any of those siege towers back there. Siege towers are actually an excellent way to get infantry units in close to gunpowder, because gunpowder doesn't do that much damage against rams or towers. So you could go siege ram, or you could go siege tower and choo-choo! Let's go, baby! So there's 30 shotels inside of those towers. I think initially LaaaAN's like, that's not going to do anything. But then he realizes he's not hitting the towers. Don't ask me how the towers actually get through there, but they do. As some of these are stuck on the other side. So that's 20 Shotel warriors through. And look at the value here. They snipe all the bombard cannons, and it allows the Onagers to move forward and cut open the trees. That is an epic gamer move right there, JonSlow. That's sick. That's beautiful stuff. And he immediately queues up more. I mean, why not? But your Shotels have high attack, right? So you just need to get them in close. They also die very quickly, but that's not a bad move at all. Though it is hard to control. It's kind of funny how you can't eject units over a gate, but you can eject units over a wall. Also, here's this lonely siege tower going through. Is it a siege tower or is it a scout? Who really knows? But I think he's going to try and get it over the wall, and it dies. And so do the two Shotels. You haven't realized these guys are going to be good for a long time. There's actually only 7,000 gold left on the map, and there's no stone left. But the gold counts are pretty ridiculous. LaaaaaN apparently has somewhere to be. And he better tell them it's going to take some time till he gets there. Hussars run in. LaaaAN's laughing right now, I think realizing the situation. He's got 6k gold, still with more trade in queue. Actually did delete villagers recently, so he's frees up more military pop space, or I guess in this case, trade pop space. LaaaAN sees the siege towers again. Again, like, he would have never guessed that he was going to have siege towers up against him in this game. But here we go again. So yeah, they can't go over gates, though, which is a bit of an issue. Oh, it's actually open here, so the siege towers can kind of scoot on through. Some of the towers are going down. JonSlow's going to use this opportunity for his siege onagers, though. He's going to land some hits here. The Janissaries get completely flattened. And so while the siege towers themselves didn't necessarily change things there, that was precisely what JonSlow was looking for. That was perfect. It kills off that gunpowder, and now LaaaAN's kind of worried, I'm sure. But you do have this opening over here. So now Hussars can come in for LaaaAN. And he's here. And remember, without the Royal Heirs upgrade, the Hussars are doing 3 more damage than they should do against the Shotel warriors. I'm going to give JonSlow the benefit of the doubt and say that he probably thinks he has that upgrade. But he does not. And LaaaAN says, I have 6k gold. Why am I doing Hussars? Which is true. Yeah, I mean, like, normally for efficiency purposes, and so you don't run out of gold, you want a gold unit with a trash unit. But, like, if you have endless gold because you have endless trade, it makes sense to maybe make Cavalier instead of these Hussars. The siege onager shots have been so satisfying. And JonSlow trying to dive to take out those cannons. Those cannons are the key here, really. Like, without the bombard cannons, the trebuchets, the siege onagers, all of that can do what they please. Big attack rounds there from JonSlow. And the same deal for him, having siege onagers, obviously the key. Controlling siege onagers, maybe a little bit more complicated, but I think there's more reward for the siege onagers hitting than there is the bombard cannons. Unless you get this many of them. So JonSlow does kill some of his own Shotels. But don't tell him I showed you that. I'm loving the inclusion of the Rams here. Rams are tankier than the siege tower. Now, they are slower, but they actually help and destroy buildings too. So, I think it's a good addition. 150 eco for JonSlow. There's 30 trade. And then there's 140 eco for land with 37 trade. So JonSlow has more villagers, basically. And, you know, there's arguments on how you want to treat that. I do think this is still not the stage of the game where you want to be deleting too many vills. But once you bank up 10k plus, then you can delete 20, 30 vills, I'd say. Anyways, it's such... They know it's going to be such a long game. They're starting to ask each other how their day has been. And they're responding immediately. JonSlow says, how's your day? As he choo-choos in here with the Rams. Lance is not bad, yours. And JonSlow says, good. My day's been good. Look at these siege rams, guys. The siege rams actually can't make it through to the cannons right now. And JonSlow probably won't end up killing the cannons. But that's 50 units or 40 units that are not attacking these shotels. Like, what you actually need there is you need the group of shotels to be in at the same time. You could tell the timing just didn't work out. Honestly, it was so close to a much better scenario here. Maybe a siege onager or two hops in there. Like, those bomber cannons were stuck. What you can do is you can pay attention to your unit queue. If you have 50 plus units in the queue, that's where you could debate deleting some villagers here or there, just for a little bit more military pop space. I think Land just did that, because I think he was at 105 villagers. He's down to 96 now. I hear death randomly. Yeah, here. Okay, he deleted some vills there. So yeah, that's intentional. Instead of I see dead people, it's I hear dead people for me right now. 14 range bomber cannons against a 9 range siege onager. Who wins? Well, Micro God? Nope. JonSlow backs away. If you are going to add more eco, adding trade makes a lot more sense here than maybe adding villagers. And Land has used some of that free pop space to add the trade. JonSlow, I think because his units are so squishy, I think he needs more of them. Like, compared to the Cavalier. Cavalier's 140 HP. The Shotel Warrior only 50. Sorry to any Shotel Warriors that are watching. I didn't mean to call you squishy. It's better than fat, I guess. There's... If Persians were involved, I'd be making a couple fat jokes, you know? AKA your mom jokes. Oh, sorry. I'm mature. Shotel Warriors diving in deep. There's no buffer for these siege onagers, but if the siege onagers land their shots, it will be satisfying, and it's extremely satisfying. You can make arguments on if it's worth it or not. Oh, it would have been so worth it if the bombard cannons went down there, but nice shot from JonSlow. Again, he's got more eco overall, so he can, like, replenish these things more than his opponent can in theory. So I think what it is JonSlow has more on wood than his opponent does right now. The siege onagers killing some of the Shotel Warriors. Again, that's a problem. We have Trebs on the right, so JonSlow's trying to take a big fight and then take out these towers so he could maybe take out the right side. Land sees this, and Land immediately swoops over here with his Cavalier to snipe those Trebs. Still some big shots with the siege onager. I love Torsen engines. It's such a fun tech. But I'm seeing 80 units in queue for JonSlow, and they're just not quite getting here in time. Might be worth buying lots of stone. And maybe it's worth another cut here for him, because the wood is getting awfully close to him on this side. Land doesn't have outposts there either, and if it's not working here, you can just wall it up. Your opponent would have to take out your gate to get through. And so he is going to immediately shift focus. Now, Land notices this, so now he's got all this army here. It's going to take a little while to get over this side. And so panic sets in for Land, and here come the Shotel Warriors, and this is gonna get crazy. Let's go. I think, like, if you're Land, you could take this as an opportunity to just defend with castles and towers and then actually start to push, right? Because JonSlow might not have any defense, and he has no defense. But if you do that, and your opponent's ready for you, and then you lose, you know, important areas of your base, you're going to feel pretty foolish. So I can understand the decision to come back here to deal with this, especially considering the KD shows that his army's pretty darn good against what JonSlow is sending in. He clears up those shotels right away, and these two hussars make it in close. I don't know about the Cavalier, though. JonSlow should be able to land and attack rounds. And LaaaN backs away. His cannons are kind of caught in between where they were and where they were sent. And now, you know, again, the problem for LaaaN was he didn't have an area to get through. He got one because his opponent cut the trees. And now there's another area. So I think you have to be careful here if you're JonSlow. You don't want to open up all of it, because then suddenly the player with a lot of mobility can kind of start to raid you a little bit, right? I don't think this is a huge raiding game. I think, like, the second someone's front line is compromised, this game may end, because the trade is right behind it. But we'll see. JonSlow hasn't really deleted much eco this game. Army high of 50. The Shotel Warriors hoping to get through. There they go. They're making it close. If they get around the bombard cannons, this could be really good. There's a nice attack round there from JonSlow. That's a really nice attack round from him. He wasn't able to kill too many bombard cannons, but he will kill the hussar and keep his siege onagers alive. How many castles do we have producing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you have production from 6 castles against what feels like 15 stables? That is kind of a factor here, right? It's easier for LaaaN to produce units. Be curious to know how many bombard cannons LaaaN actually produced this game. He's lost some, but he's done a great job keeping them alive. Certainly more siege onagers have gone down. You actually look at the value destroyed, bottom left, and it shows you that LaaaN has destroyed 48,000 resources worth of military, and it's only 35,000 for JonSlow. Well, it certainly seems like those fights have paid off, and it's all gold units he's chewing up. But your opponent can make gold units forever because he is trade. So again, JonSlow dives with those shotels, and the shotels just disappear. I think he needs more army here. He's got 100 units in the queue. I think he needs more army. He actually has more trade queued up as well right now. LaaaN not doing too bad for a rusty guy. Looking pretty confident right now, but just as he starts to advance in on this side, there's now an Onager cut and rams on this side from JonSlow. This is what he has working for him right now. The siege onagers crawling forward. Can they land a shot on the bombard cannons? There's a lot of them here. You can tell JonSlow's clicked and he's hoping. He gets a big shot there. LaaaN, though, does kill all the siege onagers. That's a problem, but there's no army here. LaaaN didn't lose enough units, so he doesn't actually have a ton of pop space freed up for the production. So a lot of these units need to be sent back home. And taking out a castle is so important here, because the only way you get more castles is if you use your gold to buy stone, and that only gets more expensive. It's not like, you know, killing 10 siege onagers, which I guess wood is kind of, you know, wood is something you'll eventually run out of on this map. But gold you should always have. Castle down. Bombard tower possibly down. Here there's some Cavalier in the back, but I think JonSlow will track that. And I think that's worth it for JonSlow. So he has really utilized the openings to get in and do significant damage here. LaaaN apparently somewhere to be. We've just crossed the hour mark. We'll see if that's actually the case. And Shotel Warriors dicing up the trade here. Now, in these moments, you look at the unit queue, right? LaaaN's got over 100 units in queue. So does JonSlow. If they lose trade, they've still going to have plenty more trade remaining, and it just gives them more army. So it's one of my favorite things in you know, late game in Age of Empires. It's kind of the population balance. And there's a pro and con to this. Obviously, you just lost economy. Economy's nice. But you're going to have a whole lot more army. And I think that that is something that JonSlow has kind of struggled with in general already, is the amount of army he's fielding. He's never had an army as large. as the opponent. There are still Shotels tracking this. I think they'll eventually kill the Cavalier. What in the world? That just looks funny. And Shotel Warriors and Rams from JonSlow on the left. Now, back to the whole like army population thing. The thing he does have is like Rams really carry a lot of weight for their population. They accomplish a lot for just one population. So he can take out some towers here with these chonky Rams. It could be really good for him. Doesn't really have the support for the Rams. Most of the Rams going down. These Rams will actually take down a stable and take down a tower, though. Over on the right side, we got Shotel Warriors moving in, and you can tell LaaaAAN's a little distracted. And the Shotels slice and dice and get some nice kills. That's beautiful, beautiful value from JonSlow. He's been waiting for that. LaaaAAN is protecting himself almost every other time. 152 economy and a 200 population game for JonSlow. He only has population space for 48 army. LaaaAAN's got 80 army on the field. Now, food count, wood count, all that stuff good for JonSlow. Total res collected is higher for him for the first time in a while. That's shifted slowly because of the numbers we've been talking about. LaaaAAN does have 52 trade. It's just JonSlow's got a lot of lumberjacks, which is kind of interesting. Like, I think we're actually at a point where farms will start to expire for LaaaAAN. It wouldn't surprise me. He only has 60-some villas. It wouldn't surprise me if his TCs are all queued up and sending villagers to wood right now. I think if JonSlow can survive this wave, the eco balance that he has right now may be superior. Look at this move! Look at him go! The Rams! He had every single Ram garrison there with Shotel Warriors. That's a beautiful move from JonSlow. He won't take out the tower, unfortunately. Still, like, Elite Janissary and Cavaliers just seems to be so strong. Especially considering these Cavalier are doing 3 more damage than they would be doing if JonSlow would have got that tech. That is... Apparently, he's JonSlow at reading the tech tree, because that is, like, such a nice technology to have. The way I think about it in my brain is it's like... It's as if your opponent's Cavalier would only have foraging, and it'd be 12+1. You think about it that way, and you're like, oh, if my opponent missed out on those upgrades or didn't have those upgrades, that'd be big. Well, his opponent does have the upgrades because of a lack of technology. Guys, JonSlow was hoping to go to the other side here. He was hoping to go to the other side again, but he didn't have this walled up in time, and the Cavalier are going to run through. It's complete panic for JonSlow as the Shotel Warriors chase down the gunpowder here. He will take eco losses, but I think this could actually be good for him. Is it going to be good for his confidence? Absolutely not. But from my perspective, with 100 units in queue, this could be good. He does need to... The downside will be he needs to chase this with the next wave of army. And so what he can't do is back up these Rams. And the walls and everything, just like the choke points have made it so awkward. The Cavalier have also split up. Now, I think what would be wise for JonSlow here is you queue up trade as you're losing it. So, you know you're going to lose some. You just don't want to make sure you don't lose everything. And LaaaAAN is taking him down to 35 trade carts now. JonSlow still thinking about going through here. LaaaAAN will stonewall up. And LaaaAAN lost most of his bombard cannon, so he can't immediately push the castle. JonSlow's repairing the castle as well. He is ready to hold the line. Unfortunately, he just has so much army running in his trade route right now. Didn't actually have Bracer either. Just realizing that. That's kind of rough, because that would help the castles here. The castles would have maybe killed more Cavalier there. So he's got to free up that trade route. LaaaAAN ready to push. And here he catches out JonSlow's Rams. Actually deleted his walls so he could do that. And, you know, it's becoming clear that JonSlow is just slower than his opponent, right? and maybe with his units as well. But LaaaAAN has been able to take control, take some initiative. And he's running with it. Figuratively and literally, still units in the trade. Lots for JonSlow to pay attention to. I wonder if it'd be worth it for JonSlow to make his own bombard cannons. You know, you never really want to make just a worse unit than what your opponent already has. And I think many people would see it that way, making, bombard cannons against Turks. But you do still get benefit from Torsen engines, which the Turks don't. And you would have more range than the siege onagers. So, I don't know. Something that's on my mind right now. 57 trade and counting for land. He's still only at 57 villagers, but he seems happy with it. And he's going to try and break the line here. JonSlow, 70 population space for his army now. He's still got units in queue, but he's slowly starting to crumble. That siege onager there gets picked off by land. That's sick. He saw it coming. He backed away with his Janissaries. If these castles go down, JonSlow's in big trouble because he can't produce Shotels. He's not prepared to produce anything else. This is the plan. He's not changing the plan now. It's too late. Rams will try and slide on by. Shotel's just melting to the gunpowder and cav combination. And it feels like we've seen this story so many times before. And JonSlow advances forward, and this combo of cav, gunpowder, and bombard cannons just destroys. And I think the Shotels just lack too much HP. They're only 50 HP. Against some really high-value units here. Janissaries do so much attack. The Cavalier as well. Nice attack rounds from JonSlow. Is still at 135 eco. It's still a good economy, but can he land a shot? This is where we need the big ones. He's trying to get in close and then attack. He's trying to get in for those bombard cannons. Siege Onager! Land missed. Land missed. He hits it here. Oh! Boom! Oh, man. Man, I feel like all Siege Onagers should do the same amount of damage as Torsen engines. Maybe we'd see Siege Onager more. I hope the devs don't actually take that to heart. Then Torsen engines wouldn't be special, but it is crazy to see the blast radius there. All right, so land. He has that bombard cannon number he wants again. Remember when he was at 12 or so? It's taken him a long time to get back to that number. Continually clicks these back, and JonSlow continues to sacrifice 50 or so units just to kill a cannon or two. Very realistic battle here for JonSlow's people. Just tossing in bodies and bodies and bodies with no regard for human life. Land valuing human life a little bit more. I think if I were to sign up, I'm not sure what unit I would be. I'd probably be a trade card, honestly. Yeah, I'd be a trade card, but yeah, maybe a bombard cannon. I don't know. JonSlow getting desperate. JonSlow's military count really low right now. And these bombard towers have been really strong. 26 kills already. It's just another layer of fortification. And you could tell JonSlow's getting a little frustrated. It's like anytime he tries to get close to these stinking cannons, they're getting sniped. The siege onagers are getting sniped. Or even the Shotels. Land always has the perfect positioning. This guy was a former top 10 player. He was top 10 4 years ago. He's a lawyer now. He doesn't spend near as much time on the game. In fact, he was just straight up away from the game for the last year and a half. But he gets the job done here. Even though he couldn't cut through the trees himself. JonSlow taps out, calls the GG. And while this is not the most accurate of sentences, he says, "And you said Michi ain't fun." I don't know how much fun land had, but I had fun. And you can see the ratios here. I mean, yeah, 844 Shotels made in this game from JonSlow. I mean, considering the lack of success he had here, I would say that maybe that's not the unit to go for. But then you have to think, what would the other options be? I think that, camels would maybe be questionable. I think Arbalest would be tough against the cannon. So yeah, it just takes me back to Shotel Warriors, probably the play. And I'm going to say it like this. It's going to come off a little rude because it was probably just a misclick. But what you could also say about the Shotels is that 844 of JonSlow's units were not fully upgraded in this game because he didn't have the Royal Heirs upgrade. He collected, let's see, how many resources did this guy collect? He collected 204,000 resources. And he couldn't spend 600 resources to upgrade 844 units. I'm sure it was a misclick. Maybe he didn't know about the update. It's a relatively new change. But that aspect's kind of sad. So maybe it wasn't a true test of the shotels. Now, if JonSlow genuinely had forever, he could have just banked up resources and never cut through. Like, then LaaaaaN would have to awkwardly make trebs and try and take out the trees. But I like the fact that JonSlow cut through. It felt like, honestly, if he had a couple siege rams to take out these stables, like when he initially cut through, if he had siege rams with the push, it would have been really nice. Maybe he had the ratios wrong. Maybe he just had too much eco this game. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this Michi game. I hope we're cool with me speeding up the early going. I think I probably made the most sense considering there wasn't a ton to talk about there. There's the KD, land just over 1,000 kills. Good to see him back playing the game again. There's the exploration. I guess that's pretty unimportant stat. What about the speed? Well, JonSlow is faster at points. So that's something he can take home from this. Yeah, fun game. Let me know if you want to see more maps like this. I mean, I'm going to download some Michi games from this week. I think Michi will probably be out of the ranked pool soon. And I don't even know when this is going to be uploaded to YouTube. So maybe it'll be out of the ranked pool by the time this hits. But thank you guys very much for watching. Yet again, October 2nd through 6th. Or it might be 3rd through 6th. I should know this because I'm taking a flight there. But I don't have the days memorized offhand. I'm going to be in Spain. The Red Bull YouTube channel and also Twitch channel will be live. And later on, videos of the Red Bull Renato event. I will be casting there. However, I will still have some good uploads every single day. And this is one of my many casts on this particular afternoon to make sure things are stacked. So, might be content overload for you guys. But as always, an upload every single day. We'll have lots of variety coming, if not more than I usually have. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment. Feels good to see that stuff. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys again. That is it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.